Hey everyone, this is the FAPodcast, the educational show that takes a closer look at your browser history. I don't think I've done that intro in so long.
It has
Sorry, I
been a
sound a little
while.
mildly low energy. I'm actually in a pretty good mood. It's just that it's it's just been a long day. And by a long day, I mean nothing's happened. Um, anyways, I'm Manuel, and Jordan over here is did you know that he's actually um, I got no joke. Jordan, introduce
Wow,
yourself.
you're really hitting it hard, huh? You're really pulling out all the stops, Manuel. Yeah, I gotta
Well, I was gonna
say.
say something. I was gonna say something very inside that you wouldn't get. I'm like, Jordan's that fish that's under the guy that's like glub glub, and it's like the guy's naked.
What the heck are you talking about?
See, no one knows that but me. Don't ask what I look up.
Okay, you know that is just you. Sorry, I'm getting the
Oh,
I'm getting the Glee thing up, getting it ready. But anyway, hi, I'm Jeeves. I do art. I'm trying to use my handle more than I actually use my name, so that
oh,
I guess it becomes
Jeeves.
more fluid with me. I guess
Jeeves.
'cause I
Well,
rarely ever
Jeeves
have to use my
actually.
name.
Um, thank you for waiting until we're live to correct me on this. Now I just feel like an asshole. Thank you very much. I'm gonna like try to. I'm gonna I think I only said it once. I'm gonna just like get myself saying Jeeves right there. I was even quiet afterwards. I can clip it, and I'm gonna just put that over.
What are you gonna have like a hotkey to say my name every time you have to
Jeeves.
bring me up?
Yes.
That's
Well,
you gotta edit me out during your VODs too.
you've been you've been surprisingly quiet through all of our nonsense, but joining us tonight is Photaku.
Hi there, hi there. Just give me a quick moment. I am trying to adjust my volume due to my sound system being a little loud, so I apologize if there is a slight echo. But now
No, he's
that's
not there.
resolved, and yeah, I'm just having a really great day. My name is Photaku. I am getting back into streaming Genshin and other games that you can catch on my Twitch, as well as seeing the photos that I post on my Instagram and the occasional videos that I post also on YouTube. And I am so surprised that I haven't heard more of this educational intro before. That's
I know this
sounds
is
really
a.
awesome.
To be fair, for those of you, especially the show does kind of numbers on you. Well, numbers for A to G connections. The show does decent numbers on YouTube. In case you're not familiar with Josh, Josh has been on several of our episodes of our other podcasts, the non-18 plus one, Ultra Podcast Z. I'm not sure how much crossover there is there, but the reason why Josh, why you might not be. Wait, should I be calling you Josh? Because I feel weird after the
That,
Jeeves thing.
that's fine, Josh Fotaku. It's
Okay.
it's all good. It's all good.
But the reason why you might not be too familiar with this show is that more or less around the time you first started appearing, which is like around October, this was like on a very extended hiatus.
Yeah,
It didn't need to go on for that long, but it was a super long hiatus, and it's bi-weekly. It's not weekly, so we've
and
only had like 2 episodes you've been around.
you guys did what you call it the D&D session thing for the
Yeah,
other Fridays after. But yeah, we have been gone for quite a while. And now that ALA is coming up too, I don't think we'll be
yeah.
seeing.
This is actually the last one of the year until after ALA. Unfortunately, that's not really because that's not honestly that's not really because I wanted to. It's also, I mean, even if the schedule was better, like how do I say this? Even if there wasn't a lot to do for ALA, which there is, the next
Oh,
week
there
this
is.
would happen. The next day this would happen is Christmas Eve, and I
Mm.
don't think anyone's gonna want to come back here on Christmas
Oh
Eve.
no 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 no
Least
no,
of
not
all
at
me.
all.
Least of all me. I'm not even gonna lie. So yeah, and then the next Friday that would happen, we're at ALA. So literally, this show cannot happen for the next two times anyway.
Yep.
Oops.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so we'll be down there at ALA too. And well, you got a bunch of panels going on as well.
I know. It's funny because I feel like that evil meme, the meme where it's all like evil so and so does something and not, like the whole it's like opposite day kind of thing. And I'm like, evil Manual works on panels like a month in advance because even though I do feel the crunch, honestly, I don't work on stuff this early. um, not to like give it away, but usually I always make the joke. There's one panel out of all the bunch that always gets the short end of the stick. And the reason that happens is because usually I don't really crank down working on them until the week before. And mind you, it's not like we ever cover topics that we don't know or that we don't have sort of idea what we want to say, but the actual writing part doesn't really happen till then. And obviously, because it's so last minute, usually because we do like 3 to 5 panels a con, usually one of them will always be the bad panel.
I think it's
But
just because one, this is like one of the first cons that you're actually going back to, right?
yeah, yeah, and these are also all the ones we're doing are relatively new. Like none, and even the one that's kind of a returning one, like our idol panel, we have to rewrite it almost from scratch just because of the sheer nature of not doing it for 2 years. You know what I mean?
So you have so much more to talk about, so much more to
Yeah,
actually go in depth. Are you also going to include idols such as like, Hololive, the
it's actually
VTubers and
hilarious you bring
stuff?
that up because this panel is called the J Idol Variety or J Idol Super Fun Happy Hour because it has to be a workshop, so we had to like make some interactive bullshit into it, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine because basically what we did was we literally combined every panel that we've done on idols into one, like little pieces that work. So there's a bit of the educational stuff, a bit of talking about the anime, a bit of talking about the new Hololive type, the VTuber type things,
Mm-hmm.
because that is a thing we should talk about, and also clickbaity. And then we're gonna have like some trivia and some games and like stuff like that.
Right,
It'll
right.
work. It's a very
There's a
uh
lot.
yeah, I don't know if you can hear me snap my fingers, but it's a very snappy panel. But yeah, it'll work. Honestly, that one, if anything, the fear is overwriting that one. It's gonna be a lot of like trimming everything out once I'm mostly done with that. And that one actually has slides already in it. That one's already partially written, which is crazy. So that's what I'm saying. Like 4 weeks in advance, and that panel, all the panels are outlined. That panel has a lot of shit in it, and our horror panel has another outline to the outline. Like I started explaining, but like there's actually work being done. God forbid.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
That's why you've been pretty busy too, getting everything set up.
yeah. What are we gonna draw?
Ugh,
What's gonna be the drawing tonight?
I don't
Is the
know.
ancestor?
Someone has to say something. Or I'm just
Um,
gonna keep on drawing this
Something.
pose.
at some point, in one of the unused corners of this picture, if you could draw me a golden Reggie, because we're doing an award show on Tuesday, and we're gonna just like have a little golden Reggie. It's very low. It's very low. Low effort. So like, this could be
Golden
completely
Reggie.
low effort.
Can I get a
Yeah, if
Reggie
you could.
reference?
Reggie is a snowman. He is literally the snowman emoji that every keyboard has.
Are you
And let me find.
serious? That's
Yeah,
it. That's him. His name is Reggie.
yeah. His name. Well, we named him Reggie. Oh, you don't know this?
No, I don't.
Um. Well, first of all, it's basically your stereotypical snowman. I'm sure you've seen the snowman emoji. Um, but I was in a long time ago. I'll give you the really fast version. I've actually done an entire DTL on this a long time ago, and Josh, this might be informative to you because this comes up a lot with it A to J.
Yeah.
We I was talking to a friend of ours. Her name's Kelly, not Callie, but Kelly, who's done translations for us at Fanime a few times and a few other things.
Mhm.
And I was talking to her, I think prior to a Fanime, and we're just going back and forth. And I sent her the snowman emoji. And I think I was really drunk when I was sending it, and I'm like, she's like, "Oh, look, the snow." And by the way, this dates this almost perfectly because this is around the time when Facebook Messenger started adding things to like some of the emojis. Like if you put the hearts fly. If you put
Hmm.
I forgot what else, balloons come up, and if you put the Reggie, snowflakes appear.
Mhm.
Um, and when I put the snowman, I didn't know that was gonna happen. I put the snowman and snowflakes appeared. She's like, "Oh my god, snowflakes appeared!" I'm like, "Yeah, snowman's cool, isn't it? His name's Reggie." I don't know where that really came from.
She named him Reggie,
I
or
named him Reggie,
oh,
and
you
then
named him Reggie. I thought that Kelly did.
actually, that's the funny point because for the longest time I did say she did until I went back for the DTL to go see what happened, and I named him Reggie, and then she just followed up like, "Yeah, his name is Reggie," and so yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about it, and because I was drunk, and then this is the part where I kind of attributed it to her for years. And then, like next day, she's like, "Oh look, you sent a Reggie. Here's a Reggie for luck." And somehow, I don't know how that got extended to. I guess she did do stuff for A to J, but somehow that just slowly got inserted. And I'll just jump to the point. We literally have a cult.
I think you're ready.
Of Reggie.
For the record,
Yes, we have
you are much better than that girl.
it's gone to the point where some members like Q have like shared the Reggie lore to other people. So I've
Yeah.
heard of the Reggie stuff outside of A to J even. She's not the only one who does that. Other people have like kind of run with it as their own inside joke that they share
I
with
see.
others. And it's just so weird hearing that circle back to me. But and like stuff like our off-topic chat with the A to J is called the Cult of Reggie, and we literally put like Hail Reggie all the time, like at our stuff, and like like Reggie save us, like it's all sacrilege. It's great.
I'm pretty sure you brought it up, but I've never known. Like, you'd always say Reggie, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just like, what the heck is he talking about? Well, just let him do his thing. He's...
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of people don't know the whole like. Honestly, even some people with an A to J who say the stuff don't know like the whole backstory. They just know that we have a snowman that we name Reggie and that everything's Reggie.
So dumb. Alright, well,
yeah.
good to know. I can
It's
draw
a
that
thing.
guy.
Yeah, just a snowman.
Yeah, just a snowman. I thought it was gonna be like some kind of like band character from like your late 70s or something. I'm just like, man, Manuel's old. But
Draw that
nah.
in the corner, and then in the I guess you could draw for the main drawing. You could have her like seducing a snowman. I don't know. Oh man, that reminds me of some crazy shit I've seen. Anyways, what were we talking about tonight? Before I start going off on them, actually that tangent would have been. I should have just went with that.
Go for it. What are we gonna talk about?
Let me back up for a little, and let's get some of the non-ecchi stuff, so we can work our way into this, because we definitely won't have time to talk about this on Ultra Podcast D. And I know this is not a full ecchi, actually not ecchi topic at all. But Cowboy Bebop, the Netflix version, got canceled.
The second season, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that wild? I saw your post about it. Did you share it with me? Somebody shared it with me, and I was like, yeah, I was so happy.
I thought it was Frederick. I thought he shared it. Warren.
Well, somebody shared it, and I was just like, What does upset me about it getting canceled? By the way, have you seen it, Josh?
I only saw up to about 2.5 episodes because I was
Honestly,
like, okay,
that's
I'll give
enough.
it the benefit of the doubt. And then the first one, I was like, okay, I see them copying the movie intro, kind of, when they're mixing it up with the second episode, where they're on the casino like satellite or the space colony thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens. So then it was just kind of like, I don't like to use the word cringe because there's a lot that I enjoy doing in the anime, community, and we already have enough people that'll say, oh, that shit's like cringe and stuff, and we always have to, try to navigate through like, between the people that might be just a little socially awkward and the other people who just like really enjoy it. So it's kind of seemed like an ironic take whenever we use the word cringe. But this was just very much like, this seems really awkward. This feels like there were decisions within that fight scene that don't really work out, especially with it being live action. Like, I could see some of the stuff working if it were animated, because you can make shit kind of seem over exaggerated, like with how like with Kill la Kill, people could be like far away from one another, and then like in the next second you could see like somebody just like closed in on the other one, like separating the space and stuff, because it's all wacky and exaggerated. But that's just the opening scene, though. It's just kind of like, okay, maybe they'll do better, and there were some signs where they probably could have improved. But going into those 2.5 episodes, it was just like very hard, because I saw that they would make changes, like, and it was all really apparent right away. It's like Jet now has a daughter.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's like, no, people can't be happy, but that's also not the point of Jet's character, because since he has a daughter with the woman that originally had like left him to be in the criminal underworld, it was kind of like, we just erased all of that. Like, this is not going to be the same Jet. Like, clearly his motivations are different. And we also will not get those takes on those episodes. And then I learned, well, before I learned about that information, it was like, well, this is not episodic anymore. They actually tried to serialize it, so they try to connect reasons as to like making episode 1 feel like it was part of something greater. So they attached more significance to the pregnant girl, the air quotes pregnant girl. They tried to show that they were actually dealing with the syndicate, is why they had maintained it, not like anybody can just get drugs randomly from stuff. And I was just so upset, because they had like their version of Faye being like, oh, you're really scared of the Syndicate, and I'm just kind of like, whoa, hold up. Like, I don't want to say that most people, you know, are aware of their plot armor, but like the Syndicate was only brought up in the 5 episodes that were like really concurrent with Spike, and in all those episodes, nobody fucks with the Syndicate. Like, even Jet's like police friends was like, when they learned what was going on, they were like, bro, we can't help you. Like it's that bad. They even had like a dogfight that's very much like, just because I know it's like near the end of the series, it was just kind of like, oh shit, like anything could go down. Like the whole Bebop could like go down, and we're only left with Spike. Like I was just like,
besides the weird take on the anime, there's a lot of stuff I was okay with. It's funny because Mustafa Shakir, I believe, is the guy who played Jet. I liked him. He was very different, but I think he was one of the few good parts of the show. I will say right off the bat, I've already mentioned my problems with John Cho, but I think age aside, I still think John Cho, by the way, my previous argument before I watched it was that John Cho is way too old to be playing Spike. He looks physically older than Jet, and that just creates a weird dynamic. I don't think he's supposed to be, but like
he's not, yeah.
That creates a weird dynamic because it's just like, why is he old? But
well, I mean, like Jet was old. Like if I was just to see because like seeing how everybody looked, I was just kind of like, well, they all look pretty dope. Like I don't think
Faye was like a bad take on a bad. I thought she looked the character, but she felt really miscast. So when I say miscast, I don't mean that she didn't look like she could fit the character. I just don't think she was a good Faye. That could have been writing though. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't think there was really an issue with the cast. Like I feel like everybody was like really trying, but with the direction everybody was given, it was just very much like, okay, like if I would still see the Jet, like I would still be like, okay, like if I had to compare, I'd say that being live action Jet, like I see that. It's just that the decisions that are made with writing and direction, it's like clearly not even the same Jet. There's like a Jet, if this stuff had happened in his life, but he reacts to it in the same way that Jet probably would from the show. At least given within the situation, he was reminding me more like, what if Jet was like Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon,
yeah.
the Lethal Weapon movie? So it was just kind of like, that's what it was reminding me a bit more of, versus the Jet that like still did good things throughout the show, despite the fact that, you know, every episode he showed up in, there was like this cruel twist of irony that occurred. So like, you know, like Jet as a character doesn't really have anywhere to progress. It's just what can we learn from Jet and the situation that he's in, and that's just kind of like what we have with most of it, since like everyone's stories are just kind of like whatever, and it's not till like there's those main 5 episodes, and then the occasional Faye episodes where you can really see more stuff develop, but like it all just reflects back to what the current thing is. And Bebop was, I feel that Bebop has always been like something that a lot of people like relate more with as they get older, is that, you know, sometimes you don't accomplish your dreams in life, or like shit just like, you know, it happens, and sometimes you can either still strive for it and see if it leads you somewhere, whether it's the place that you want it to be or not, or sometimes we're just, you know, we're kind of faking it day by day, not like in the sense of like our careers and stuff. Like I'm not saying we have some imposter syndrome, it's just that sometimes you're doing it day by day, because, you know, you either gotta survive or you're trying to do your best while trying to get out there. And in Bebop, we essentially just see versions of everybody who's like, you know, like Jet has lost his, you know, like he lost his arm, he lost the love of his life, and he's coming to terms with like a bunch of the extra stuff that's going on. Spike has lost like the love of his life, you know, thought that she like stood him up after like he practically died, and you know, Faye doesn't know who she is, like just straight up has to like figure that shit out. And you know, in this episodic format that works, because when shit gets real, it gets real. But in this format, you know, like I'm not saying it wouldn't have been possible, but the writing was just very awkward, and it made it seem like there was a take somebody said where it's like, I feel like I'm watching a cosplayer and their take on the material versus seeing like this whole full out budget, like thought out thing.
The crazy part about the budget part of it, by the way, and we'll probably wrap this up after we get Jordan's opinion. Have you watched it, Jordan, before I have my little budget thing?
I haven't. No, I haven't really watched.
Haven't?
No, I haven't.
Well, only one season now. The crazy thing about this that blows my mind is the wasted time, energy, and money in this whole project. And what's funny is even though apparently they canceled it because of its negative reception, everyone I see, well, the weebs, I should say more accurately, seem to have liked it. Like, one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this, like particularly here briefly, before we get to the real etchy stuff, is that I'm like, I saw that Josh also had an opinion that he didn't like it, and I'm like, it's like I'll admit I kind of like poisoned the well for myself because I was talking shit before it even came out. But that's part of the issue. That's part of the issue I'm going to get at here, is that this has been in production since like 2017.
Really?
Yes, and the reason I know this is because we interviewed the director of Cowboy Bebop, the anime, at Fanime that year, and we this wasn't part of the interview. I think we were actually not allowed to. They told us we couldn't ask about it because they had just announced the movie. I mean, the Netflix adaptation, which I don't think they even said was going to be a movie or a show yet. They had just announced it, and they had also just announced this turned out to be a rumor, but they had also announced that they were going to change Ayn from a corgi to something else. I don't know if you remember that.
Like,
That's how long ago.
just sounds like I'm surprised I didn't see this. I straight up would have been like red flags, being like,
So,
Why
like,
did they ever explain why they wanted to?
honestly, I think that they did change it because this is around the same time they were talking about the casting. I think they did
Yeah.
change it, and then similar to a Sonic thing, but before that happened, that there was so much of, well, you know, obviously you guys didn't hear about it because this was a while ago, but there was so much of like the uproar against it. They're like, oh no, that was a rumor. We were never gonna do that, because that's what they came out and said. Honestly,
that gaslighting.
yeah, I think that's what it was. But we asked the director of about the show, like when we were like either before or after, we were just chit chatting, and I'm like, oh, what do you guys what do you think about like they're gonna change Ayn from to like from a corgi? They actually named what the dog was, like a Saint Bernard or some shit. And I was like, what do you think about that? And the director was like, what? And then like our translator pulled up like an article like from Variety or whatever and showed him the article, and like he could. I realize now this second that he didn't read the article. Anyways, we pulled it up though just to show that it was a thing, and he was all like, I don't know what like. Actually, I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'm saying it anyway. If you're watching this, ooh, inside scoop. He's like, I knew with the production, I probably shouldn't say anything about it, but he basically said like, actually, I'll just pretty much say it. He said like, that if this is any sign that he has no hope for the actual show when it comes out.
Oh my god.
So yeah. So I'll just say it there. Similar to I'll admit, kind of me. I don't think the director liked it, and apparently we were the first ones to tell him about it, because I mean he knew about the show, but I mean about the corgi thing, so he about some of the weirdness that was going on from day one. But yeah, the show was in production forever, and apparently it was supposed to have finished and been released before the pandemic, and then John Cho hurt himself, and that was actually when I finally realized, like, saw the casting like a few months ago, and I looked up like, wait, how old is this guy? It's hilarious because I was not following the production, and these aren't from like weeb news sources. Once again, these like from Variety, from Hollywood Reporter, from like, you know, because this is Netflix. People reporting on it like, is John Cho too old for this role? Because the dude's like 50, and he got injured and was out for like 6 months or some shit. And I don't no ageism here, but everyone was all like, maybe he shouldn't be doing like a very stunt, like a stunt in an action series or whatever, you know. And he got a lot of flack for that. There's all these quotes about like him going against the age thing come from around this time. And then the pandemic happened, they kept delaying it. So all this long drawn out production just to cancel it a week or two after, I don't know how many weeks it actually was, but like weeks after it getting released, that just blows my mind.
Well, I wonder like how much negative feedback there was for it, because, you know, like apparently, like you said, a lot of people enjoyed it. And it couldn't have been so bad that they would have been like, oh, let's cancel it, right?
Oh, why'd my monitor die?
What?
So-
Is the thing all right? Let me just be sure. No, it still looks like it's okay.
I mean,
No,
stream
not
is
down
going, right?
On my end, I still see the stream.
Yeah, stream
can
is
you hear me?
going.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was-
I can hear you. It was just Manuel.
Oh,
Just says
did I?
that.
Okay. Real fast, I wanted to mention this. We move on from the Cowboy Bebop topic there. Real fast, I wanted to mention this because Josh pointed this out the other day. I saw you were streaming Genshin 3 or 4 days ago, whatever day it
Yeah.
was. I think it was Wednesday. No, yeah, it was Wednesday. And you mentioned your power went out.
Oh, yeah, no, it straight up cut off while I was in the middle of the conversation. I was like, oh shit.
that same day my power went out too. That's why I was getting nervous right now when I saw my computer go off. I'm like, oh, did the power? But that would have been weirder power outage because this is the laptop. So technically, even when the power goes out, it should still run for several more hours. But actually,
Yeah.
why did my screen die? I think I must have turned on the screensaver accidentally. That was so weird.
You probably weren't interacting with your PC or something, maybe.
Yeah, let me turn that off in the meantime. But let's get on some ecchi stuff. What are your some? Oh, sorry. While I'm still working on this, what are some of your favorite ecchi anime, Josh? I know every anime fan has to have a few ecchi faves in their closet.
I'd be surprised if like nobody did, because I'm like, are you even living if you don't? Okay, so like I would like to say it's stuff like Tenchi Muyo and all that, but I only caught it like on not Adult Swim. I caught it on Toonami, so I'm not really gonna count any of the like that older stuff. But let me see. There's Shuffle. I think Shuffle was one of the early ones
Oh,
that
yeah.
like I had seen.
Cool.
I didn't expect it, but like it was, like I knew it was a harem, but like straight up as it was going forward, it proved it was more ecchi, and I was like, oh, I kind of enjoy this. Another one was probably Rosario Vampire. That one was also really good. Haven't seen season 2, and I've heard everybody say like horrible shit, but I guess they all like read the manga and stuff. But there was that, and then the other one, the only other one that I saw was just because well, no, I've seen more. Like, even, don't get me started on Team Icon or that thing that was on Stars, and I was just like, oh, this is like,
Wait,
yeah,
is Icon
I like
the
all
one?
of that.
Is Icon the one with the girls with gigantic boobs?
Yeah, it's the one with the girls and the gigantic boobs, and they're having like this weird competition somewhere, and they're all like in
it's
bikinis and stuff.
Yes, it's hilarious you bring this up because the other day I was I was going through, like I've mentioned before in the past in other shows, that I emptied out a storage unit, and I've been trying to really downsize everything, and now that I emptied out that storage unit, I'm like, now it's time for me to downsize fully, just do shit I've been meaning to do. So I had a couple, it's not a ton of them, like I had a few boxes like around my house that I wanted to get rid of, and I'm like, I don't care really what's in them, and throw most of it away or sell what I can. And I went through it, and I had a complete set of the US language version of Icon, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I wonder if Book Off will take these, because actually it's funny because the manga doesn't have much nudity, hardly any. You would think it would be all like titties everywhere. It's a lot. It's just as ecchi and implied. It's still like, oh, there was kind of, just giant boobs, and yeah. And I'm like, I don't know, and I feel almost embarrassed to take him to Book Off.
It's not like they're gonna see your face again, Just be like,
I'll just-
Yeah,
give me money.
And
I've had to
so,
bring
like-
I'm bringing a lot of other stuff, but yeah, Aiken. I haven't thought about that in so long. Aiken.
Yeah.
Also, Shuffle is based on a visual novel, so like a lot of the visual novel adaptations are always like,
Yeah, they definitely be like that. And so like I heard about it first only as the anime. I didn't know about the visual novel at first. And then the last one that was gonna bring up was this one called Testament of Sisterhood or something like that. And like I wouldn't have watched it because at first I thought like, oh, this sounds kind of like incesty, and like the only show that like I even put up with is like probably No Game No Life, because I really enjoyed the anime, but that was definitely a part of the anime I didn't like, was Sora and Shiro always being like super like incesty and stuff. I was like, I did not like that part. Though I
Incest
like
is the current hip thing the millennials are into, though.
What
don't
the
know,
heck?
I don't suffice to it, and they always pull that trope where it's like, oh, they're not really like blood related or like 100% blood related, and I'm like, that doesn't make it any better. But anyway, this other one, it wasn't even that. It was like more of a it was more of a domesticated girlfriend, I think, situation where like the dad happens to get married to somebody and they like take in extra family, and but it's like with demons and shit, and it was just funny because like the person who recommended this to me was Lauren Lambda, because like her husband was getting a tattoo at this one guy's place here in Bakersfield, and like the guy tells me at work, he's like, bruh, what's the name of that blonde-haired girl from Attack on Titan? And I was like, which blonde-haired girl? He was like, the one that turns into a Titan. I was like, oh, that's Annie. He's like, yeah, Annie's voice actor's at my shop, man. You should come down. And so like, I went over and I was like, oh snap! So like, the guy was like on this the dude who was at the tattoo. He was like at this sci-fi like cosplay battle thing, and he met up with like a lot of people through that show, and eventually just shared around that he does a lot of tattoos and people like his work. So like Lauren Landa told her, I'm not sure if it was her husband or boyfriend or so, but they were like, yo, like let's go down there. And so I got to talk with her for a little bit, and she was like, yo, have you seen Testament of Sisterhood? You should totally check out that anime. And I was very surprised. I thought like at first it's like, okay, so it's probably just gonna be like,
By the way, I'm looking her up. I'm looking at the anime. It's Testament of Sister New Devil.
There we go. Thank you. I couldn't remember the full name, but like, yeah, yeah, no wonder there's demons, but like,
I was thinking that too. Well, honestly, I was like, is this the right one? And then when you mentioned the demons, I'm like, oh, this is the right one.
yeah, it got very because it's like uncensored, and I was watching it on Funimation at the time, and I was like, oh, okay, this goes.
Oh,
it's not exactly hentai. It's not exactly hentai, but it is ecchi. So I was like, oh, that's kind of hot actually. Holy shit.
I typed in Testament of New Devil naked to see what came up, and of course I got like a bunch of fan art. That was a stupid thing for me to do. Don't ever do that. Don't let your become
solid. Good job.
There we go. That's my take. Sorry. I'm sorry if I took too long.
Oh no. And it gives me a lot to bounce off of too. A fun fact: Lauren Land is a voice actress. In case I don't know if you mentioned that, but she was in Ecchi-tosen, and she plays a character in Ecchi-tosen. And Ecchi-tosen's another one of my favorite ecchi series. I mentioned this one. I used to mention this one a lot. It used to be it's one of my favorite series of all time. But I haven't really watched the sequels. It had a couple. I think it had
Wait, what'd you say?
As battle vixens. Ecchi-tosen. Ecchi-tosen. It's just like a martial arts anime, ecchi. Like I said, you might have seen the manga called Battle Vixens. But I don't know why. I think I can only assume that they translated it. It was Tokyo Pop one, and it's interesting because
Tokyo Pop.
It's a retelling of Romance in the Three Kingdoms, sorta, but like in high school with like big titty girls playing like the people, and now it's like more martial arts than the actual like fighting and killing and shit like that. It's pretty good. I liked it. What's funny? What's funny is like going on more about some other ecchi series, and this actually ties it in. Whenever I try to sit down and think of Christmas anime, there's this one Santa anime. It is very ecchi too. It's something. It's by Ken Akamatsu. Did the manga and he did the art. And if you don't know what Ken Akamatsu is, he did the Negima series, which everyone knows is more popular these days. That's like the one with the little boy, has like the harem, little wizard boy or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And he also did Love Hina, which I love a lot more too.
Oh, Love Hina.
But the other Santa one, I think it was like Santa SOS, whatever. That was the only pure holiday anime because it was a one shot. It wasn't existed in another universe that I could think of. But I also remember the Christmas special for Love Hina. I think it was the winter special. I think they called it actually, and it was an OVA. I'll never forget this. There's this character in the show, and she's like the stereotypical like martial artist type person in the harem. She's very like tomboyish, very like quick to like beat up the main guy or whatever. You know the kind of person I'm talking about, right? And she's going on the train. I forgot what the fuck she's going on the train for. She's going on the train, and while she's on the train, some dude starts like filling her up, like like that kind of thing, and she gets upset, and like rightfully so for the record, but she gets upset and she like beats his ass with like her like kendo sword or whatever the fuck, like her wooden sword thing. I don't think it's actually a kendo sword, it's like a wooden sword. Beat his ass with a wooden sword. And you know what the next scene is?
What?
The next scene is her with the police and apologizing for beating up the guy. And it always stuck with me. I was just like, what? I'm like, even if this is a culturally like a cultural thing, I mean to say, even if this is a cultural thing, I mean, why write that into your story? and it really took me out of the moment. And this was a Christmas episode, and everything else is so like cheesy Christmas nonsense, except for this one scene. And it was meant to be a character arc where she learns to loosen up, and I'm like, what is this? What is this? I just find that so weird. I just find that a random Christmas anime memory that I'll never forget. Like, honestly, that sticks with me more than any other part of the Love Hina series. I love the manga. I read the manga. There was 14 volumes. Read each, also by Tokyo Pop, by the way. I'm sure someone else releases it now. Read all the volumes.
See,
Loved it.
when you bring up something like that, it's like, oh yeah, it's weird to you, but like when I think about it, we do Hallmark videos or Hallmark movie stuff that also have like similar concepts like that.
That is
Like
true.
there is this one movie where this lady, like I believe she's like a post office worker. Like there's this guy that she sees and she likes him, and she's like, oh hey, how's it going? It's like, oh, I'm doing good, but like he's about to get married and stuff like that, and then like he has like amnesia because like something happened to him, and she's the only one there, and then he's like, oh, it's like, who are you? It's like, and she's like, I'm your fiance,
Oh
you know,
my
lying to him. Yeah, it's with Sandra Bullock too,
God.
like, you know, A-list actor. So like when you think about like, oh yeah, things like that, you know, for a Christmas movie, then you see something like that, like it's like, are we really that different?
Yeah, and honestly, like now that you mention that, I can think of so many Christmas movies that are built on similar, like, not as bad, 'cause that's horrible.
Like weird
but
concepts, right?
Yeah, similar weird premises, and I'm like, why? Like, what?
Yeah, it's like the one movie, I don't know if it considers a Hallmark, but like it's like this kid who's like on Christmas, was it Christmas Day? Like it's just a baby that goes around New York City, and like these three guys are like trying to like chase this baby because it's like they're holding it for ransom or something. And like this baby apparently is like so smart that it's able to escape them. It's able to like make these contraptions and trap them and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, the parents are just like, oh, the baby's just been sleeping in the crib the whole entire night. And then it's like, no, you guys are just terrible parents, just letting your child go like that.
What is the? By the way, this drawing is looking a lot more detailed than I was expecting. I checked in on it now, and I'm like, whoa,
Oh, which one?
the girl, it's all
Oh.
shaded. I was really surprised about the shading. The shading does wonders.
Yeah. I like to say I improved over the year.
Hey, look at that. Like, I don't mean offense by this. Well, actually, this is actually a good, better way to say I was going to say, because the way I was going to say it, worded it was a little weird. But that does not look like you drew it in the amount of time you clearly did.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear
That's
that.
a good one,
Yeah.
Anyway.
How do you want this Reggie to look like? Should I give it like the stick hands, you know, like,
Yeah, stick hands.
and then put the little like oven mitten on it?
Do it. There's
Yeah.
this. Have you ever seen the horror movie Jack Frost?
I have, yeah. Oh my god, that was terrifying to watch when I was a kid.
I will say, like, I haven't. I watched it recently because I wanted to do a movie review thing on it. I'm kind of glad I did it. But I watched it back in the day. I rented it on tape. Have you ever seen it, Josh? It's called Jack Frost. It's the killer snowman.
I saw it at Blockbuster, but I
Exactly.
didn't
That's
buy
what I say.
it.
Like, I think that's what everyone. It's one of those movies. Oh shit! I almost knocked over my keyboard. It's one of those movies. I think that a lot of people would just see on a shelf. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the VHS cover. Because I don't think my DVD's like this. I don't even have the DVD anymore. I think I sold it. But the VHS cover was like, what do they call that? Like holographic or whatever. Like where you move it side to side and things happen.
Yeah.
I think it's a snowman that he has teeth. But there's this scene.
Yeah.
There's this infamous scene, and it's funny because I mentioned this on a past show. I think it was actually one of the gaming streams randomly, but I wanted to mention it more properly here, where there's this scene where this girl's getting killed, and in my head, when I was a kid, I watched this scene, and she's taking a shower. And by the way, the girl Shannon Elizabeth, who later on became famous for being in American Pie, she's the girl that was like masturbating in the room, but this is before that. And so she's taking a shower, or bath actually, because this is important, and he melts himself, the snowman does, gets into the tub, reforms, and kills her. Now, when I was a kid, I was all like, "Oh wow!" Like he like strangled her, or drowned her, or some shit like that. And then it wasn't until I started watching all these movie reviewers recently that everyone pointed out, it's like, "Where's his nose?" And I'm like, I don't like this movie anymore. I don't like this movie anymore because as a snowman, he has a carrot nose, and yeah, and I'm like, so that's what the scene was.
Well, I mean,
Now
he melted, right? Did he melt in the tub, or did he?
He melted and like crawled, like, well, as water crawls. But then again, yeah, maybe he just. Then again, I have to watch the whole movie again. Now I need to watch it again because now I'm just like, I could have sworn he picks up his nose. I don't think he picks it up like from in front of him.
He had I feel like he had melted, and then he moved.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm gonna download that movie, and I feel like I need to come back to. Well, maybe I won't. We'll see if whether I hate that movie forever or whether I want to come to the defense of Jack Frost. That movie's. And the weird thing is, for the record, this scene has no nudity. The whole movie is actually this weird. It definitely is violent, but it almost feels like I could edit this movie and make it into a kids movie, like almost like a slightly more scary a Goosebumps episode or some shit like that.
Right, because from what I remember, it was very
Kid.
yeah, it was very kid friend, not kid friendly, but I mean it was kiddishly made.
And then it ends with like the kid kills a snowman because he thinks antifreeze was like he tried to put antifreeze in his dad's coffee, and they used the antifreeze to kill the snowman. And I'm like, dude, you could have killed your dad.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I could have done. But
why did it drink the coffee?
oh no, I think that the little boy, I think the dad was like, we need antifreeze, and something had happened where they had lost the antifreeze they were going to use, and then the little boy's all like, it's in your coffee, Dad, I put it there to help your day or whatever.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But yeah, honestly, that's how. If I remember correctly, because I used to love this movie too. Like I said back in the day, if I remember correctly, you see him put it into the coffee like at the beginning-ish of the movie. And honestly, you might have to be paying attention to what he was doing. But even as a kid, I was like, oh, that dad's gonna. That's the way the movie's gonna end. The dad's gonna be like, yeah, we killed the snowman, drink it, then he dies.
Oh my god. That's.
No,
like you think about like the parents that don't teach their kids what not to touch and all that kind of things, you know, but no, he's just like yeah let this kid do whatever he wants kind of thing.
No repercussions will occur.
If anything, Jack Frost saved that dad's life because that if this had never happened, that dad would have drunk antifreeze.
Oh yeah, no kidding, 100%.
Oh man, it's hilarious because anyways, there's a lot of I won't say any more of this, but like of the more intended consensual variety, but there's a lot more snowman porn if you know where to look. And don't ask why I know this, but I've accidentally, you believe that or not, I've accidentally come across many in my life, and I'm just like,
I'm sorry, you've come across what?
Snowman porn.
What?
Yeah.
Why is that a thing?
Actually, I haven't heard of yet.
It exists. Whenever I think of holiday porn, I always think of snowman porn, and I'm like,
Interesting.
just have somebody come dressed up as Santa. Don't. And I don't mean the snowman's person in a costume. I mean it's a snowman.
It couldn't have been like some kind of Hallmark thing you could have mentioned. No, it was porn.
It's always the best.
Oh, is it?
Yes, actually it is. Anyway, let's move on to some of our other. I wanted to talk about some notable ecchi stuff from 2021, and it's funny because I was racking my brain about this, and I couldn't think of too many, but the first one that came to mind, it's also notable because I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing lately, and I took a screenshot of.
I don't like where this is going.
It's the Anka thing.
That's so old though.
Yeah,
like
notable for 2021. I'm not saying like this happened last week.
No. I'm not. I'm saying like that's been out for like the longest time, and like it only now has gotten like.
Yeah. I think it came out circa the game, that whole little thing, but it got viral on TikTok like October-ish.
Yeah, it was so weird because well, who did it? It was either Zone or Red Minus, one of the two.
Yeah,
Because on Newgrounds, it was on Newgrounds.
and it was. Have you seen it, Josh?
Which one?
Where you know what Anka is? Anka's the Egyptian cat from
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
yeah, she's basically like fucking a guy or fucking the villager or whatever. It's all done in a very interesting way. And there's a song Camel on Camel.
Oh, I think it was Zone. Zone did it. Zone did the animation.
But yeah, it's this cool animation, and everyone's been like memeing it to fuck. Like it came out a while ago. Like I said, it came out circa the game coming out. Like it's old.
Yeah.
It only went I've actually seen it earlier this year. I saw it in part of a compilation of other Animal Crossing. Of course, there's lots of Animal Crossing porn.
Yeah.
But I saw it in the compilation, and I was like, "Oh my god, who made the Anka one?" If you watch this compilation, I'm not gonna link it, but if the compilation was really bad, and then the Anka one looks pretty good out of nowhere, and the song is a fucking banger, no pun intended, but yeah, the banger. But apparently that's ruined Anka for a lot of people, and I'm like, I love Anka. Honestly, I kind of loved Anka before that. If you do you still play Animal Crossing, Josh? I know you played it when it came out. Everyone did.
Yeah, but I don't really play it as much anymore. I ended up getting stuck on what's it called? I ended up getting stuck on
New World.
Well, no. Before I ended up playing more of the Persona 5.
Oh.
Because at first I was doing the what's it called? Animal Crossing, what's it called? New Horizons. And then I decided to play Persona 5. And then after that, I was just kind of like tiptoeing back and forth to it, but unless a friend was doing something cool on it, I didn't really go back because like it was a cool way of interacting since we weren't doing anything at first.
Yeah, it's crazy because that game was so bare bones when it first launched. I look back on that and I'm like, there was nothing to do in that game back when it first came out except go to the people's islands.
Yeah, I had a friend named Denise who like did these things where she made some really cool games with it, and like it was really cool. She did like a few birthday things through it, and I was like, wow, that was really extra and cool. And then I tried doing this like tree chopping thing that like I gave some prizes to, and
Those were the days.
yeah. So like
I mean,
after that, then
yeah.
I got into Genshin some way into 2021, and it's just like I've just focused on that, so I have not gone back to Animal Crossing.
Well, honestly, it's a whole different game now if you go back to it, so it'll be a little weird. But I've been playing it a lot recently because I've been getting really like heads deep in all the new DLC. It's actually kind of annoying because I think like my phone or everything knows that I'm like, you know, because I keep looking up items and shit like that for Animal Crossing. So I keep getting ads on Instagram of these accounts that do like those amazing builds. And it just makes me feel like I'm wasting my time. Like here I am, like playing this game for like a couple hours a day ish, and I can't make anything like this, you know.
Oh yeah, like I've still I've like already flattened out my island to how I want to do it, but like I just haven't been back to it because I'm always like thinking like, oh, is that gonna work? You know, is this gonna be the right thing? And then because I always hate just having to put something up and then I have to take it down because it's so tedious, right?
Your island looked so good back in the day. I miss your island. And
Oh
then, like,
yeah.
I mean, I'll never forget, and I assume this is where you stopped because I don't remember you playing much after this. When you invited everyone to the island to go take the stuff you didn't want, so I went to your island and it was so sad seeing it like empty, like literally empty.
Yeah.
You had this whole thing set up; it was all perfect, and then I couldn't imagine anyone. I could never do that. Like that would be my island forever. I would never clear it because or clear it in pieces. But you like cleared the whole thing.
Because it was so basic. I was just like, man, I don't like my island right now. You know, it's like I'll just like change it up, and then
It was so
If-
upsetting.
if I just had like the same customization abilities like I did with like Minecraft, then like I would have been like totally fine. Like, oh yeah, just let's put this all together. See, I'm already like thinking about just going like I'm already going to do a water town island again, just like with a little bit more movement to everything. You know, it's not like so like uniformly or like grid structure. So you know, it'll take some time, but we'll see.
It's well, going back to the Anka thing, it's funny because if you get Anka on your island, one of the funny things I've noticed is that And I've been trying to get like all these. This is how weird I was about Animal Crossing pretty much until the update came out, because I would only play dailies, but I was obsessed with like getting a perfect inventory. So I was moving in villagers to get their pictures, and I have a system down. If you give them the iron lamp or something, I forget what it's called, the iron wall lamp, they won't display it, but because the item technically sells for a decent amount of money, it'll get their friendship up, and everyone likes the color black, or at least they're indifferent to it. So like you could just make that the same item, give it to everyone.
Oh my god.
So I have a system to get everyone's pick to get their friendship up and get their pictures. So I think I have like 40 or 50 villagers pictures, which by the way is like 450. So I'm like still not even anywhere near the full amount. But now I've kind of given up on that. I'm like, I'm just gonna move in villagers I actually want to keep. But so I moved in Anka because I've been wanting to get her for a while.
Because that's a lot.
And
That's a lot to do.
I mean, I was never gonna do it. I was just gonna do it for the ones I wanted and
Mhm.
fill up after a while, I can't even put them up anywhere in my house anymore. So now I was just gonna be like, I just have them in my inventory. What do I need that for? But Anka has a toilet as her chair in her room.
I saw
took a
that,
picture.
yes.
Yeah, and she just sits on it. Like that's what she goes to read, and I'm like,
I thought you were doing like the home like thing, the vacation home redecoration thing, but no, that was actually her home. I was like, all right,
That's her
Manuel, you
real-
do you.
Yeah, her real home, she's in the toilet. And the home I did, I put her on a throne, and I put a dead guy in front of her, and I put a sword. And I'm just like, I had a whole backstory, but I don't think there's a reaction to bow. If there is, I should redo that picture. But the whole idea was just like, oh, this is me simping for Anka, and I killed this guy. Like,
What the heck?
that's my backstory to that picture, by the way.
Is it now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, that was a fun animation. I don't know. The Anka memes have gotten a little. I do like that it's brought like a new wave of cosplayers cosplaying her, which is so odd to me.
It is kind of weird, huh?
Yeah, a friend, one of A to J people still goes to a lot of cons. Like they went to LA Comic Con and they're going to Anime in Pasadena this weekend, and they took pictures of a bunch of Anka cosplayers. I don't know if they were looking for this specifically, but I'm like, oh look, it's Anka cosplayers. And I have friends of mine, even some people who commented on the picture I posted, who are all like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cosplay Anka at such and such or ALA or whatever. And I'm like, that's so weird.
Ugh.
Like, what about Isabel? Go cosplay Isabel.
I mean, you do you.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, Reggie is this is the gold Reggie.
That's Reggie who got peed on. Why did I say that? I didn't have to say that.
You didn't.
Would you say then that the what's it called? Would you say then that if you are in Animal Crossing Stan, you're probably a furry? Like that's just a thing. that
Honestly,
we have
honestly,
to just stay.
yes.
It's a you can't not be. You are here. Do not argue against it. Do not shame people for it. You are furry. Yeah.
I made a joke. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like a hardcore furry or whatever. I'm still weird about the term, but I definitely, I'm the epitome of that thing. It's kind of a meme, but like when you start joking about something for enough time, it stops being something you're joking about and something you're actually into. I think that's definitely been me and the furry stuff in general. I
Yeah.
have legitimate plans to go to fur conventions, not this year, but next year, 2022. I have legitimate plans to go to Califur, and there's even a convention. I don't think it's coming back. They haven't announced when its dates are, but there's even a convention, like a really good one that like Moon, who's been on this podcast in the past, mentions. I think it's in Colorado. That's gonna happen, and I'm definitely. I mean, Colorado, for those who don't know your geography, it's not that far from here. It's just like a nice long drive, so I'm definitely gonna go to that. For some reason, by the way, I'm the guy who didn't know geography. For some reason in my head, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be like this crazy flight. Like, no, just drive up there. I'm like, oh.
It's just a drive, a
Like-
quick drive.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's like more than 8 hours, but you could do it within a day. Something like that. It's just past Nevada. But anyways, I don't know my geography apparently. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I definitely have become more and more awakened to my furriness.
Yeah, because you kept bragging like Leslie about it, just like, oh, you want me to watch Beastars because you want me to be a furry, and I was just like,
And then like during the pandemic, when we hit episode 100 on Ultra Podcast Z, we were determined that episode. And by the way, we determined this before the pandemic. So long this has been in the plan, because we've been joking about the furry fandom for so long that we wanted to do a furry podcast episode for 100. Fun fact, by the way, I don't know if it's changed now or whatever, but like one of the reasons why that podcast was delayed, like we actually had like episode 99, then episode 99 and a half, the 99.75, the 99.8, because we refused to let episode 100 happen until we got the furry thing going. We could not find somebody who was willing to be in the podcast to talk about the furry fandom, which I find hilarious. Like I knew if Rachel ended up finding a friend of hers to be on, and that was great. I can't remember her name off the top of my head because we only really knew her for that one show, unfortunately. But she was great. But I just found it funny that so many people who I know for a fact are furries and are open about it would not publicly talk about it. There's still a stigma, and I don't really know why.
Maybe like open would be a sense of like talking with people that are that they know they can talk about it with, as opposed to like going online and having it there for the rest of their lives kind of thing.
There's so much of it, like it's so much of it tied in with the anime fandom, with like things like cat girls and like it's funny because there's a whole theory, and I know people have seen the memes, and the memes have actually come from this, that as people did more and more research on how anime came to the US, like the fandom, I mean to say, grew here. It grew out of the furry fandom, or to be more accurate, I should say they grew up together. A lot of the first people who like started the anime conventions back in the day were also, oh my god, my computer keeps shutting off.
We're also furries, is that what you're gonna say?
Yes, sorry. We're also behind starting the furry fandom. Sorry, right? Because I'm not actually. Let me go play the podcast. I mean, play the Twitch thingy on here so it knows I'm watching a video and it won't do that again. Apparently I can't turn off the screen timer thing. I only put it higher, but I don't want to put it for like 8 hours because I'm afraid I might actually need the screen timeout. So I left it at 30 minutes, and I guess it's been 30 minutes I wasn't touching the computer. But anyways, yeah, the furry fandom. What was I saying? Oh yeah, a lot of the same people like started both, and there's a lot of connections there. There used to be this one of the first of like the anime inspired comics was this thing called Yojimbo, which is like this bunny that was a samurai. It's US made, I mean.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Even shit like that, where it was all like, it was super like they were already doing this from day one, where like it was just like they were tying like these were furry enthusiasts. There's actually was a word for like the fandom back then. They weren't furries. They were like, I think they were fur enthusiasts or something like that.
Well, if you think about all the Western cartoons that have to do with like animals, you know, especially like the more like the action ones too, like the one where like the Looney Tunes, but they're more an action like fighter squad. Do you remember that one?
Yes, that's so random.
Yeah. And then like there was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There was the Darkwing. There was like so many other ones. I can't even remember. Yeah.
Tailspin's the one that had Baloo in it, but I remember like that the chick who was like he was living with, the one that was the mother of the little boy. Like she's also one. Oh, and Rescue. Sorry, well. Anyways, the mother's one is also like, you know, sexualized a lot in modern things. But what really popped in my head when I thought we were thinking about Disney is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, because that one had Gadget.
Okay, man. Well, okay, calm down.
Oh yeah, because even as a kid, okay, I'm gonna get this.
Yeah, I don't know if you're sure you want to do this.
I'm not gonna go much further, but even as a kid, I was all like, "That's a pretty hot mouse."
Sheesh. Okay. So like a lot of
I had no idea what these thoughts were.
A lot of our childhood was like a lot of like the animation stuff really had like a lot of like animals involved with it. I mean, it might be the same for Japan too, where they had like animal creatures because it's more like kid friendly and gets people to understand like, oh yeah, these are animals kind of thing, yada yada yada. But I, you know, when you think about your childhood a lot, you notice there was like a lot of like animal stuff, like animal animal, not even just animations, like animal movies, like Air Bud, or what was that other one where it's like it was like a dog, a cat, and like some other thing where like they get lost.
Oh, it's like Homeward Bound or something.
Homeward Bound, yeah. Like so many of those things.
We've been ingrained to be one with animals in more ways than one.
Jeez.
I shouldn't say that. I'm pretty sure that's it's so funny because okay, let me say this. Let me say this now, and this is hilarious. I did what oh god, I can't even talk about this, but I want to bring this up now because it'll never be brought up again. I kind of want to redeem myself from me mentioning this on Drink Talk Learn. For
You can't be redeemed. It's too late.
Do you guys, when I say the term, because it's not a word, it's two words. When I say the term donkey show, what do you guys think?
I don't know what even that
A really
is.
dated joke, probably. I mean, I know what it refers to because I've heard of it, but
What
like,
do you think it refers to?
what do I think? Or
Do you think it's referring to something sexual?
yeah, because
Okay.
that's what I heard. But like the first time I heard it, like I heard so much about it because it was like being like a constant joke all the time, and I just felt like
Okay.
I felt like bothered by it later because like
No, definitely.
I'm Mexican and I'm like I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about because
Okay.
every time I go to anywhere in Mexico, I do not see this shit. And the only people who like have any say about anything is just like Vice, since they like look into a lot of crazy stuff. And of course, it's just something that relates to, you know, just some like Mexican redneck, like backward, like type of deal. So it's like, you know, it's everyone's got their crazies, and I just hate like when I hear that. I'm just kind of like, that's not even relevant to like anything.
But-
You honestly do not see that shit.
But
Yeah.
you know what you do see in Mexico? You do see people with donkeys that you take pictures with, right?
Yeah.
So, for years of my life, I thought that that's what a donkey show was. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure, and I think they even have it in like Clerks 2. Who's ever seen Clerks 2, by the way? But
I've seen
like
Clerks too.
they have a donkey show scene there, and I think they call it a donkey show.
Yeah, they do.
And to be
they
honest,
do.
to be honest, that was the only time in my life I've ever heard that term. And I've seen that movie like once in my life, ages ago. It's not a term that people just bring up in public. So whenever whenever you hear me refer to a donkey show, I literally refer to those people in Mexico who have like this little photo booth. It's on the street. It's not really a photo booth, but they have this little photo set up. Usually there's like more things that like, they make it look all Western or something like that, or depending on what it is. Sometimes they paint the
Yeah.
donkey to be a zebra, but like it'll be a donkey. You can take a picture with it. Like maybe you get on it, maybe you just take it with it. It's a weird little thing you do when you're in some parts of Mexico. And that's what a donkey show is to me. And I used to bring this up all the time. And I brought this up on DT. Like, not that I bring it up a lot, but I would just bring it up in passing.
Interesting.
Like those weird donkey show pictures. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Manuel? It was
I
like-
can see then. That's kind of a funny like misunderstanding.
Yes. Also, similar, like, it's kind of a boomer thing, but like when you talk about something being like a project or something being run very badly or done pretty badly, you can call
Yeah.
it a donkey show. Like there's all this, like, you ever heard the term? It's like, oh, that's a Mickey Mouse job or a Mickey Mouse outfit.
Okay, I've definitely not heard of that term.
Yeah, so
The
I'm saying
heck?
these are also like weird old terms that like my grandfather would say and shit like that. And like when I was younger, I'd hear like older people say when I was really young, like boomer talk for when I was a kid. So these are terms that I wouldn't really use, like, but I've heard them. So I've always thought a donkey show would either be an actual picture with a donkey, or this is a real donkey show. Like, you know, A to J Connections. I shouldn't say that. Nobody should clip, because I don't want a sound clip of me saying A to J Connections is that out there. But you know, because it's
You
funny or
fool.
something like that. But no, yeah, that's I just want to clear the air. That's why did I bring up donkey? This
Because
furry
we were
thing went
talking
too
about
far.
because you just decided to talk about something totally off a tangent.
This is all illegal. Nobody do any of this, by the way. If your fandom goes that crazy, just arrest yourself now.
Yeah, you see, like whenever, like the one thing too is like whenever I think about furries too, it's like always associated with something sexual, which is very unfortunate.
Well, usually, I will say this, and I will say this. There is a very sexual aspect to a lot of furry stuff, but a lot of it's. But when you're talking about like sexual stuff between like consenting adults, it's honestly whatever at that point.
Yeah.
You know.
It's true.
it's the other stuff that I'm like, arrest yourself now. If you want to just do weird things to each other while you're like in your suits, then more power to you. Wash the suit. but
Ew.
but yeah, I remember. Oh, this became a furry topic. I was going to talk about the Samsung girl and shit like that, but I remember I had this ex-girlfriend, this live-in ex-girlfriend. I've mentioned in many of my stories, but at one point her parents were going through a divorce. Like when she came to live with me, and it was this thing, and she was like, "Oh yeah, my parents are like, you know." She wasn't living with either of them, but it was still like a big issue whenever she would go back, like, because she was like leaving as this was happening, and both of her parents were like, "How could you leave us like this?" On different, from different sides. But I remember when she went to go keep talking to her mom, she's like, "Oh my gosh, my mom's dating a furry." I'll never forget this.
Lol.
Mind you, she's from Florida, so like, apparently Florida has like a really interesting
Big furry community. Oh.
And and I just remember like she would always say it with such disdain. And this is like probably the most I've ever heard. Like this is probably the first few times I ever heard about furries was from her not liking her mom's new boyfriend or whatever, who she was with. I think the entire time I was with this girl, by the way. So yeah, I never met him. I did go visit, but he wasn't around. But yeah,
I mean,
like, so you're the furry.
I mean,
How
he
did that
sounds
come up?
nice.
Did the mom mention like, "Oh yeah, he's a furry"? Or did she like Google him or like go to his Facebook or MySpace? This actually was about that time, so yeah.
Probably just like showed pictures or something like that. Maybe they even went to the conventions together because they were just like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, they're furries. Let's all go to. You're gonna go with us to Califer, Josh?
Califer. Okay, that's even a fun. Where is that located at?
Fun fact: I might be getting the name wrong because I think it is Califer though, because there's Golden State Fur Convention. I think that's in NorCal, but Califer is a SoCal one. Califer is actually happening at the old ALA location, and I don't mean Ontario. I mean the LAX Marriott. So that's.
Oh God.
Yeah, I can't wait to go back there. I'm so excited. I'm actually very excited.
It's I'm gonna be honest. When you're like saying Califer, you're reminding me of like Caliban or whatever the fuck from that what's it called? That thing
Caliban?
Halloween Town or something like that.
Calabash.
Oh!
Not Caliban. What?
Yeah, Caliban sounds like you're mispronouncing Taliban. I'm like, whoa, what are we talking about here, guy? But no, Calabash. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Calabash. Calabash.
Caliban?
It's Calabash, right?
I don't know, but I know Halloween Town. That's the one. That's the Disney Channel movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where like there's that kid who turns into like that fucking troll thing at the end. That's all I really remember about that movie.
Yeah, surprisingly. In the movie theater where all those old dead people are.
Let me go. Hold on.
Look, it's Calabar. My bad.
Well, we were both wrong.
No, I actually. Oh, I'm pulling my hair. Ow, ow. I actually am. It's funny you say that because I'm like, I haven't seen that movie recently, but I kind of wanted to watch it because it's on Disney Plus. I was gonna watch it during Halloween because one of our topics she ended up not doing was kids Halloween movies, but they required me to watch a bunch of shit, so we just never did it. But when I was looking up Halloween Town again, I'm like, oh, Calabar. I'm like, huh. So yeah. So I'm like, I think it's Calabar. Okay. That Calabar sounds like a weird California candy bar. It's like with avocado. I don't know what the fuck you put.
That reminds me.
Ooh, for a Calabar.
That's nasty.
See, that reminded me.
What's it called? Oh, wait, what were you saying?
Nothing. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, where and when does the Furry Con occur in Southern California?
It's later in the year. I'll give you info if we're all gonna. Apparently, we're just all gonna. No, but a lot of the same people that I go to shit with, like for all the other conventions, are gonna go just for the sake of the party.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
and honestly, that's what most of the fur conventions turn out to be. You go there for the party.
Who are the guest of honors for something like that?
That's the funny thing. There's apparently a big furry music scene, which is wild to me.
What?
Yeah, like furry DJs, rappers, music artists like that. It's a huge furry scene like that. And then also some of the guests would be some of the fur people themselves. There's a whole furry rabbit hole, no pun intended, you could go down if you like furry YouTubers. There's furry VTubers out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Things like that. But the YouTubers have always been like some of the guests. I can't remember any names off the top of my head, but there's several of them. And then a lot of music guests, you know. And once again, these are people that nobody outside of the fandom would know, really. It's like, oh my god, that's so and so. They did that one remix song or whatever the fuck, you know.
That only makes me like more curious about like with the music
artists too, of
aspect.
course.
You
And
know,
then
just
artists, of course.
oh yeah, artists for sure. But I wanna know what music, what makes them a big part of the
It'd be
fandom
like
for their
dubstep.
music. Yeah. Like it has to be something along those lines, right?
Yeah,
Or
exactly. I don't know. Hope I might find out soon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
When is
get
it?
deep into the fandom. Huh?
when is it?
Let's find this out now since we're like mentioning it a lot. Califer.
Yeah. For the people that are curious, I'm not gonna go. That's for sure. But
You're gonna go. You know you're
I'm
gonna
not. I really won't.
If there's not anything else going on at the same time, I'll go.
There you
go.
go.
It is. Hold on. Sorry.
Oh,
here it goes. Oh, they haven't announced the date yet. They just announced the venue, which is weird
Oh,
because they have
Do you-
to have the date already.
are you gonna buy tickets, or are you gonna like try and see if you can get a press pass and do a?
I'm gonna buy tickets because first of all, I don't think they do press passes. One of those places, but even if they did, I'm not even gonna put up a front. I'm not gonna work that on. You know.
What do you mean? You said you've even like confirmed for yourself that you're a furry. So what's
Yeah,
the
but I'm
harm
gonna go
in?
for fun. That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna go like.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm not gonna go to like get content for A to J. I'll update
So,
everyone when the date is when that happens. By the way.
I feel like you should though.
Oh, do content? I mean.
Yeah.
We'll see how that is going down the road. What were you
I
gonna
mean,
say,
like,
Josh?
oh, what I was just gonna say was like it would just depend. Like I've seen some of your explicit base things for certain events, but I know that would be like just because I guess it's like nothing indirect is like related to the furry convention, unless of
I
course
mean, I
people
could
could
find
change
it. I
before
could
then.
find it a way to tie it to A to J if that's what you're implying. I could definitely like I said, there's definitely they've definitely grown apart, but like I said, they definitely grew out of the same petri dish of fandoms back in the day.
Yeah.
Though
Then-
for something more direct, like I know that there was a Hentai Con that was happening for a bit before the pandemic occurred.
Oh, yeah. What about it? The Hentai Con?
Yeah, like you did that event, right?
I love that con. Yeah.
Yeah, you went
It
to
didn't
it.
happen again. It stole everyone's money the second year, but yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I heard that was a really crazy like fiasco or scam or whatever. Like damn, that was terrible. Yeah. By the way, thoughts then on I think it's Shibuya Kaho or
Shibuya Kaho?
Yeah, Shibuya Kaho. What about her? She's
Shibuya
great.
Kaho, thank you. Sorry, like I think I was remembering her Instagram. Like I didn't know who she was at first because I think the Kitsune Network was like telling me like, yo, this is like this really cool person I met over at the Hentai Con, and said that they would show up at the ALA, but not really as a guest. I guess
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just gonna be like, I'm gonna fly in and stuff. I'm just like, Suzuma Moi is like freaking here as like the whole guessing whatever, but like, okay, power to you. Like someone must have really hyped it up, and it was really cool. Like getting to meet her. She's like way shorter, like in person. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
seeing,
She's
like,
short,
I'm seeing,
yeah.
like the whole Christina V vibes, where it's like you look at everybody's social media and it's just kind of like, you know, people are like larger in life at times, and then
Well,
like
that goes for like anyone, any like doesn't matter who, like what level celebrity they're. That goes for like, any celebrity. I've always
like-
remarked about this is how, especially because I'm tall, like how short everyone is.
yeah, no, like I'm not even tall. Like I'm barely like 5'7", 5'8". So like
The
to
average,
me,
yeah.
I thought that they would be like more maybe around my size or something like that. So I'm like I'm really surprised that I'm taller than them. Also, like
It's like how they say like the camera adds 10 pounds. It's like it adds like another foot or so to the person.
Yeah,
it's just
there's a.
yeah.
We've done several interviews with her, and one of them we had a member of ours named Kaz do it, and the other one we had a member of ours named Danny do it. And if you recall, Danny's actually been on was on the very first DTL, has been on a bunch of UPCs, and they've also been on this show FAP. But but to put it in perspective, in the pictures we have of them all, not them all together, all three of them were never in the same spot, but like Kaz and Kaho and Danny and Kaho, they're about the same height, and both of the other two are pretty short, so that's a pretty good. Yeah, I'm not sure how tall Kaho is, but she's she's pretty. But then again, like
I think
everyone's
she's like
short.
if I had to gauge, I think she's about like 5'3" or
Yeah,
like something like
but
that.
everyone's short to me. Everyone's all like, look at you, little baby people.
Memo got that height.
Clearly, but like like you're tall, so anybody can be. So like to me, it's just why I find it kind of surprising because I'm like I'm not I'm like I don't know. It's like I'm tall for Mexican, but that's still not really tall.
He
So
posted
like,
it. Where is it? I'm tall for Mexican. Well,
It's like-
yeah, I'm abnormally tall for Mexican, for the record, since we're on that.
yeah, yes you are.
It's like being a tall Asian. Like, what does that mean? You're taller than 5'6", I believe, is the average height.
You could be tall and Asian. I think it's just rarer if you're like wide in Asian. Like I don't really see it normally as much, give or
Yeah.
take. Like it's weird. Like I'm not saying I don't, because there's like plenty of friends of mine that are like wider and stuff. But I think that's more like I'm gonna be like honest. I think that's more of like a Mexican thing, because our diet's not the best.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
But fun fact, I thought I dreamed this last night because last night I was gonna do a bunch of stuff in the middle of the night, like work on panels, not like drink, but work on panels and shit. And I got really sidetracked because of sleep. And I fell asleep, and I woke up like at 3 in the morning, and I was like, do I want to just stay awake now and work on things and just sleep after FAP, or do I want to go back to sleep? I didn't go back to sleep. So there's a tiny little like really groggy window that happened there. But while I was awake, I was going to my social media, like replying to messages here and there, and I was on Twitter, and I saw this tweet that Kaho had posted, and I thought I had dreamed it, and it had been in the back of my mind all day today when I was running errands in the morning. I'm like, did she really say that? And I went to go look right now, and she did. The tweet is, my last sex was back September 9th, 2018. I remember the date well, since 9 in Japanese is considered a bad number, as pain and suffering.
Wait, really? I thought it was
posted-
4 was a bad number, but 9?
9 and 4
Yeah,
are considered.
4 has a Chinese reading for like
death.
death, and then
Same for
Q has
Japanese
it as
too.
well. Yeah, Q has it as well. Well, because I think
The
Q is
she.
Japanese reading. Yeah, I was about to say, like, I think that both of these are stem from the Chinese readings. Fun fact, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So like did she say that she hadn't had sex for 2 years,
Yes,
or did she
she hasn't
just
had-
not have good sex for 2 years?
That's what I'm saying. I should probably, honestly, this post has too many interactions with it to read right now. She's like, it's like 10,000 likes and like
It kind of sounds like it was like, because even though I know
hundreds
that
of
she
replies.
she sometimes speaks a little broken, but like she's way more intelligent, and to slip up like that, unless of course it was just like maybe kind of a weird goof up or so, but like
Oh no! Apparently, well, I don't know if it was meant to. She gets a lot more serious in the comments. I guess she's trying to like stave off any potential rumors or rumors that already exist about her collabing with people and assuming that she's sleeping with them.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. No, because
And she
no, that's
mentions she
terrible,
replied
but
to a
that
bunch of shit. Yeah.
no, like when
Makes sense, makes
when I had
sense.
spoken with her, like I took some pictures and stuff, and it was like, oh, like because I like to like take pictures, like to throw them into the because I took like a selfie and some stuff, and I like to throw that into like the DM because it's kind of like, oh, this is how I think somebody could remember me. I didn't exactly know how like popular she was, but like just straight up, she was like, you know, being well endowed and everything. She was like, no, don't put it in the messages. Just tag me in an actual post, because I never check my inbox. And it was like, oh, because yeah, and like every girl that I know, actually, because I never really, it's not something that I figured to ask, but like a lot of people actually do get, a lot of girls get more dick pics than like I really thought or gave credit for, and it just was like, why is that like a thing? You know, I've never in my point in time ever thought like, this girl is like really, really attractive, and I think I should like, you know,
And my dick.
whip my yeah, no, it's so weird, and that sucks. Like what is she staying off in that comment section? Just that it was like, no guys, why would you think that I'm popular just because I sleep around with people? Like, do y'all even fucking know? Like I had to get like instructed at first through the other guy saying like, you know, she wasn't she wasn't exactly in porn. She was in the what's it called? She voice act for like hentai and stuff. At least to my knowledge. If she actually did porn,
Who?
it could be.
Kaho?
Yeah.
Oh, Kaho's done porn.
No, she's done porn.
So
Yeah.
she has also done porn. Okay, then
Yes.
maybe I'm forgetting some things
It's
from
actually
the.
Some key details.
No, it's actually
Yeah.
funny because don't get me wrong. I don't want to. And by the way, I'm not like shaming her by any way by
No,
saying
no, no.
this.
You're actually right because I forgot she actually made a comment when she's talking to the trash day speech. She's like, "Oh no, we like having like gross looking guys or ugly guys just because it
No,
helps."
that's what I was
with
saying. She actually she's there's certain weird. I say weird just for the sake of it, not because I think it's weird. Well, I ain't judging, but
it was for the. Let me point out, like her
There's a lot of
words were
fetish.
related towards the industry, not that was like a preference or anything that she was making. She was just pointing out that for the sake of getting that content, sold to people, it's just a what's that thing? It's not wish fulfillment. It's the other thing, like where you have somebody that's like basic ass enough or like not that well looking or attractive. There we go. It
Because-
just helps for the self-insert, but I do want to point out that that was just a marketing thing that she said for it. That wasn't like this is like straight up a preference. She wasn't talking anything about preferences or stuff.
It definitely it definitely is, because that exists through all Japanese media, not all, but
Oh.
a lot of Japanese media. Like you see that in the quote unquote the harem protagonist or the anime protagonist.
Mm.
They'll usually be like a very generic character drawing or whatever. You could like throw anyone in there, like a white shirt, like dark pants, generic haircut, just there
no,
you go.
no eyes. No
Yeah,
eyes.
Well, when they have no eyes, that's when you're hentai. But yeah.
So-
But yeah, Kaho, to go, not to judge her, to shame her, but she's done some pretty crazy stuff out there. Like, I'm actually not a huge fan of her JV work, not because I don't like her or whatever, but I mentioned this before, but I'm very vanilla when it comes to some of my. Oh shit, I dropped this. Damn, I knew I was gonna drop this. Sorry, I'm very vanilla when it comes to some of my what I like to watch in my free time. We'll say it like that. And she's not. Her stuff was never very vanilla. Let's just leave it at that.
It's always been
And,
like the extreme ends of
yeah.
things, right?
It was not the ultimate because JAV can get crazy, but it's not like that. But yeah,
she just the things that she would get into, or
she,
like
she,
for
she
you
pushed
stuff
she
is.
pushed the mainstream lines. Yeah, she pushed like what was mainstream. But yeah.
Then I can see why, because at least like as much as people want to like talk shit to people like Belle Delphine or what's it called, or I'm just using her, but like it's pushing the envelope. It's really like trying to set yourself apart from like other people, and that's like where you're more likely to see them show up than just somebody from something standard or vanilla. I think that might be why it also contributes to her popularity both in the Japanese television industry and like the current thing that's going on with the I don't know what I'm just kind of call it weeb, but I'm not exactly sure what they would call the industry in Japan exactly in terms of like the subscriber base that she's currently with, because I know that she's been about saying that when she does cosplay and she does lewd and stuff, it's because she likes to, not necessarily that
Yeah.
it's like because like is she even in the porn industry anymore?
No,
or is
she
like-
retired many years ago. Also, funny you mentioned some of her cosplay stuff. I was gonna mention that when we interviewed her the second time, we went
Yeah.
a lot more in depth in about cosplay, because the first time was at Hentai Con, so we definitely talked more about sex and shit like that.
Yeah.
But the second time, we talked more about cosplay, and we mentioned some of her cosplay she wanted to do, and she mentioned, and this actually it has a funny little coda to the end of the. That I mentioned this story, but I never mentioned how it ended up happening. How it ended up ending. But she mentioned how she loves like JRPGs. She loves Final Fantasy VII, and
Yeah.
that she always wanted to cosplay Final Fantasy VII. But whenever like that comes up in conversation with people or whatever, they're like, "Oh yeah, you'll make a good Tifa or whatever," and she's
Did
like,
she
"I don't
want
want
like Aerith or Yuffie?
I wanted to be Yuffie." She's like, "I want to be Yuffie. I don't want to be Tifa." Fun fact: she ended up actually cosplaying Yuffie earlier this year, so that you can go. Look at her
Yay.
Yuffie cosplay. But yeah,
I think I did catch that.
yeah, but
fun.
it was just funny that she mentioned that. Not funny, but it's funny. Like, I'm glad she cosplayed it, but I remember she did ended up cosplaying Tifa before Yuffie though. So I'm like, was that kind of like one for you, one for me, or whatever? Like,
Yeah, it feels like that if that was the case.
I think it's pretty much a marketing thing more than
Yeah.
like There's plenty of people that do the same within a situation, but like it's really cool to move it away from Shibuya Kaho. There's some friends of mine that got like really popular over the years, and one of them is named Ali Brazil, and
Ali Brazil.
yeah, it's her account is Ali Brazil, and it's like Ali and then period Brazil on Instagram. And I met her along with Miso Toki and of another
Oh, I
friend
know
of theirs.
Misotoki. Yeah.
Yeah, I met them all at the LA Cosplay Con, and they were just really chill. And then I would see them at shows every now and then, and so as they've gotten just more popular as time has gone on, they like later went into OnlyFans and stuff, and they like really they really made a name for themselves. And it was like that was really cool. And so I spoke with her because she would show up at SAC Anime with I Am Valence. And so we were just talking about how it's like, oh, like I really love doing the lewd content, but like she was very, very happy of a Madoka Magica, like Madoka God piece that she had like worked on. She was like, oh my gosh, like I freaking love all the work and effort that like went into this particular shot. Like it's her, it's in the galaxy. It's like a really dope ass picture. And print and print, but like before she was just saying just straight up it's kind of like, and it's not just that it relates to just cosplayers but also within people who do like art as well, is that they notice that the weeb culture has the taste for like big boobs, give me that big ass and all that stuff, and so they purposely will draw characters like like they'll be like, oh, like I enjoy drawing characters like this, but I'm always drawing like Tharja from Fire Emblem or Camila and all this stuff, because it's just like that's what sells, what catches people attention.
It's very true, very true. Yeah.
And so Ali was saying like, oh, I really like this piece that I made. It's just kind of a shame because it doesn't do as well as the numbers I want it to do than when I'm obviously in more risque stuff. I mean, like she also has a really phenomenal figure. It's just like for that one, it's like a full outfit. It's like very much a very serene piece. But she evenly still says it's like I put all this effort and stuff. This is like a dream of mine. But like just from the get-go, I was able to tell that the performance of this particular piece doesn't compare to any of my content that I create.
I mean, that's the unfortunate side effect to a lot of these things.
That's the curse of a content creator. It's that you can't do something you like.
I feel that when Kaho says that, and I hope it's okay with me abbreviating to Kaho. If it's bad, you can correct me. And it's just I feel that she does Tifa first. It's just kind of like it's about marketing yourself towards that fan base, and when you have more people around to stay, then you kind of go back and fall on some of the other projects that you want to do.
I see what you mean. I see what you're getting at. Yeah. And for the record, to put some time frame to this, I think she did the Tifa when she was really growing social media presence wise, like because now she has like 10,000 followers on Twitch.
Yeah, sorry.
And
keep going.
So I think that the Tifa thing was circa like that whole huge growth period. This is like before she was in Trash Talk podcast and got all these other appearances like that. Like, can you believe there was a point? I'll say this now because it's not going to happen, but there was a point where she was going to be on an A to J live stream, and like that literally only didn't happen because of scheduling, not because of any other bullshit. Like,
dang.
So yeah, like, oops.
Imagine what would have happened though.
I
You
know.
managed.
I'm beating myself up about that. Like our first interview with her gets a. And speaking of that, the first interview. Speaking of this, almost perfectly, the first interview we did with her, where she was she's in a bikini in the interview, and it's a very much more it's at Hentai Con, so it's like clickbait right there.
Yeah.
And it's a more sexualized interview, even the questions. That one does numbers. Our other interview where we were at Anime Expo and she was wearing a t-shirt, that one
I do as well.
No, it's barely broke like a couple thousand, I think.
Oh man.
Like it's like that one's like one of our normal interview videos where like, yeah, people will find it, the fans will watch it, but it's just that. The other Kaho video I think is over 100,000 right now and has a ton of views and ton of like watches.
It's bringing in the bacon. Is it still
actually,
monetized or?
Yeah, it doesn't earn crazy money because it's YouTube and doesn't get that many views. But yeah, every month it brings in like $5. So yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it is very like apparent like when stuff like that happens. So I just always try to stay back and be kind of like, it's enough where you're trying to separate the artist from like the intent and stuff like that. But obviously, it's like I'm straight up for everybody who's able to get their bag with any way that they're able to. It's like I'm for that. I'm just not for when you know, we have the more like really cringy sides of the fandom that can't really separate that, and that's where it's just kind of like, well, we always want to be sure that everything, you know, stays safe, but like, you know, some peeps are always going to be like very weird and stuff.
If
But,
you if you go to that thing, the post, you'll find a lot of cringe in that post.
I believe you. I believe
Fun fact, she mentions in the post, as a little coda to this, that she mind you, mildly joking, I'm sure, but like she intends the next time she has sex to be in 2030. So if Kaho's on your wish list, you got 9 years.
Wish list, like she's some kind of like prize.
Don't quote me on that.
Or a Steam sale.
It's you know, it's when you troll back, and obviously it's like, why do these people honestly feel it's like I'm following this person because I honestly believe that one day I'm gonna have sex with her? Like,
you'd be surprised.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because that is the case. There's plenty of people who follow Ariana Grande because they're like, I want to smash Ariana Grande. There's plenty of people who will follow anybody, and like, you can't say that there's not some celebrity who's not being followed by somebody because they somehow feel that they are like this like fantasy that they want to fulfill. And it's like I'm not sure how you can navigate around that. It's like, I don't know. I saw Perfect Blue a while back, and I'm just kind of like, fuck, dude. Like, this, I can see why Perfect Blue is just such a like transcendent piece of like media, and it's like, fuck, man. Oh man.
Fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. That had a funny point to like wrap that little thing up. We're probably wrapping the whole show up in a second though. But I like that we're having this conversation about like, you know, the fandom and what draws in the numbers. Jeeves has been hard at work at a keyhole sweater girl right there. Who actually resembles Kaho, but I know that wasn't your intent because
no, not at all.
Long before you were drawing that long before we started bringing up Kaho, but Kaho has almost 750,000 followers on Twitch. How do I get them confused?
YouTube,
Instagram, or
Twitter.
Okay.
She has 749,000, something like that. Yeah, a lot.
No, that's good. Like, it's at least good that she was able to, you know, what she's doing now. She really feels that it's more relevant with like her interests and stuff, and not necessarily just like working for what is. But like, I mean, like, it's just tough when stuff like that occurs kind of in the first place. But then, you know, like if they're doing well now and everything's like peachy, then it's like super awesome. You know, like straight up, keep doing you.
It's funny because usually I promised that we'd return to some of our normal segments. I still plan to do the segments next time when we come back, but we didn't do a lot of our recommendations like we did the last one. We didn't do any this time, but one recommendation I do have is go follow Kaho. She's great, and go watch her. If you're on YouTube, I'll have all the relevant links in the description, including our Kaho stuff.
So here's the one thing you should mention though when you say you should check somebody out. Or especially Shibuya Kaho. It's like, yeah, check them out on Twitter, Twitch, and other things, but don't Google them. Like, that's...
Oh, yeah.
Like...
especially Kaho, like I mentioned earlier. First of all, if you're not... because their content, even if it's like lewd or whatever, she's not like... you might not realize she did JV at one point, like porn at one point. Mm-hmm. So if you find that accidentally, you don't want to, oops. Also, like I mentioned, some of her porn stuff is kind of extreme, especially for like people with vanilla taste, so you might be like, ooh, I can't unsee that. So yeah,
just be sure that before you like pop your cherry in several ways, you know that you tread through the waters, but like okay, like to still stay on like the lewd factor and like going from that, like in terms of like when people like really enjoy the stuff that they're like attracted to, and then we have like people because like I have this thing where like, especially when trying to navigate through some certain situations, I'm very much, is like precocious the right word, or like what's the case for that, but like I have friends who sometimes ask me like, yo, like we always see you when you hang out at events and you do stuff with like girls and stuff like that, and like I can just say, because I come from like a similar thing where it's like, you know, I grew up with the whole weeby thing. I was like very awkward and stuff, and like, do you feel that in terms of consumption of media and how people sometimes reflect with what they're like seeing and how they react, and just more so like for the sake of weeb culture, since we kind of have that like issue, is there really a way that we can navigate for the sake of like trying to keep people from having like an incel-y type of attitude and stuff like that?
To keep from having?
Because
I
like
mean,
it's like I love my lewd, I love my I love all the content and stuff like that. It's just that I've noticed more as like I just talk to people playing that Persona 5 in real life and just being like, yo, you know, just like actually get up, get out there, and you get to like really enjoy your hobbies and stuff. And as you do that, you get to like socialize and meet more people, and go to like awesome events and stuff, and you really get to like, you know, make yourself a bit more well-rounded.
oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing.
I missed where you were going with this. Sorry. I thought
They-
you were
Sorry,
going somewhere
I
completely
try to be
different.
more like direct because of time, but yeah.
that's
I thought
probably
you were-
that's probably it. They just have to get out more.
Exactly.
Like,
And unfortunately, we're in a situation right now where even people who would like to have gone out more probably weren't able to.
That is true. That is definitely true. But like another part that I feel to it is like, because I never realized, and without it getting into like a whole different topic, we can make it for later, but like I feel very blessed, or I feel like we're really blessed being in California, because like when we have events, like it's already starting up. We have Pasadena this weekend.
Oh, yeah,
We
'cause
had Comic Con
the
last
area.
weekend, and then we have some other Comic Con like the following weekend, and you know, like this is where everybody's trying to get together. Voice actors like, yo, like this was last weekend was like a really big reunion for like a lot of them. Not counting the New York Comic Con, but like just straight up Avox is like trying to be like, you know, they're trying to like dig the spike or right into AX. And so like, do you feel that there's a benefit to, let's say, us here versus like any type of events that are held maybe more like in the Central West?
Midwest.
Midwest, there we
I don't
go.
want to. I don't want to rag on anyone where you live, because where you live, you make make the best of it. Good for you. You know, like whatever. I'm not trying to like say, oh, we're better than you, but it's just logistics. Like the greater Los Angeles area is bigger than most states combined. Like, you know, if I forget what the statistic is. It's like just the greater Los Angeles area, I think, is like the 20 something biggest state in the US, or something like that. Just, you know, it's really up there. Just this area, like not all of California. So yeah, just by that, it's a great place to be. It also has its negatives, but it's a great place to be if you like events.
Oh man,
Because
the negatives can also pile up, man.
but yeah, there'll be a lot of events for anything. Like we're talking about the weeb shit, but like now that events are cranking back up, I mentioned in my own little aside things. I love theater, and that's been getting a huge boost. Like shows have been happening. I've been going to shows here and there, like musicals and stage theaters, and like even spoken word shit like that. I'm like, oh look, things are happening. Concerts. The good thing about living here is that like just about everyone's concert will make a stop somewhere here. You
it's also a cultural thing too, because like, you know, the culture of a convention here is so much different than a culture, let's say Florida, or you know, just like somewhere in the Midwest, like Utah even.
There's a lot of just by nature of like the area, like you'll have a much more of a melting pot of people going.
Mm.
Like when you get some of these small conventions, I mentioned this, if you go to a convention in Vegas, you'll see it, which is weird because it's so close to us and you wouldn't think of it because it's Vegas. But you'll see a very small pocket of people who clearly probably know each other outside of this, and they're just meeting up for this convention, and I'm just the outsider. But
Mhm.
like, you know, things like, oh, this is a huge tons of people, and then when it already has that level of tons of people locally, you have people from outside who want to come, and then it becomes even more like, look, everyone's here, like practically literally.
Yeah, yeah. So many different
Um,
people for
I
sure.
do cringe when I go back to ALA. I'm like, do I have to relearn how to like talk in such large crowds, because I haven't done that in years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been talking with like, oh, you mean like presenting and other
Yeah,
things like that.
and
Well,
like
if you hold yourself to the same degree that you talk when you're on stream, then I
yeah,
think you'll
it'll,
be
it'll be
okay.
fun. Just picture the audience naked. Isn't that what they tell people about, you know?
No.
Is this how we make things fluid again? We just imagine
Picture the
everybody
audience
naked.
naked. Everyone, oh, it's everyone in their underwear or whatever. That's like the. I don't think people say that anymore. Maybe because it's like not really PC to think to
It's
say things like
the-
that. But that was the kind of thing that I was always told when I was growing up. Like, oh, you have trouble speaking in front of people, just picture them in their underwear.
I
or
don't think
naked, depending on who said it.
I don't think that
There's
ever
a sh-
helped. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a show called Young and Hungry that my girlfriend like told me to like check out, and so we're watching it. And one of them was that one of the guys is like he's very self-conscious and nervous, and he wants to have a good like a TED talk, but it's not called a TED talk in the show. So they were like, imagine everyone in their underwear, and so it's working at first. He's very much like, oh, I'm feeling very natural, but then there's like some really attractive people in the front, and they start to get like very horny, and so like it doesn't show it in the show, but it's very much implied that he's like getting an erection on stage, and it's like it's funny. That probably not the best to probably imagine that necessarily when especially if you never know what the results could be.
I'm gonna table this because I actually have a funny story, but it's kind of a long story. So I'll table that for like a bad advice, a bad a bad advice episode or some shit like that, which we have had before. But that was relationship. We'll just do bad advice general because I do have a funny story about like when I tried this, and yeah, basically it's a longer version of what Josh just said, but there's more detail to it.
I want to hear that story too for later.
Yeah, it's a longer version of that, but it's a funny little extras. But yeah, let's wrap this up. This has been a good FAP. There's some good drawing.
God.
You have a penguin up there? What's that penguin doing?
Oh, I just drew him. I was just like, oh, what do I draw now? Like I was kind of like done with drawing Reggie, and then I was just like, oh, here we go. just drew that guy.
You peed on Reggie, and that's what's going on there.
That's what's going on there. Yes.
Okay. But,
For those of you who are confused,
Reggie's the snowman. What were you gonna say?
Ollie knows.
and delete him.
We're wrapping. I did want to take this moment to announce. I didn't put it on social media. I'll put it on like tomorrow morning. That we're not doing DTL tomorrow. It was scheduled, and similar to us canceling the gaming stream. I'll be straight up. The game stream was Warren's fault. I wanted to do it, but then again, the power went out, so that would have been during the stream. So it's probably good we didn't do it. But tomorrow's mainly me. Because I could not. Well, I guess it's not just me. Molly canceled. I couldn't find another host, and then also like just there was so much I was working on. And I know I could have put it off, like the panels, but I never did my presentation or finished it. So I'm like, let's just postpone it. We should be doing it next week. So even though next week is technically Drink Talk Roll off, Drink Talk Learn off week, we're doing that instead. This is the last FAP. Last week was the last
FAP.
not the last one, forever until after ALA. Sorry, I should really watch my words. It's the last FAP of the year until after ALA. You can FAP at home. Last week was the last DT Drink Talk Roll for the year, which is our D&D podcast. So we'll be coming back to that after ALA. We were supposed to do a holiday special, which I honestly, because of time, we were literally playing a new game, and we just didn't. Nobody really had time to learn it. I was gonna DM it. We probably will do that after ALA, because I still want to do it, and it'll just be like one of those weird Christmas specials in January. It's fine. It's fine. It'll work out. Next Tuesday is going to be our last regular UPZ of the year, and we're going to be doing the Golden Reggies. That's what that thing's for. And we're going to low key, very, very low, not low effort, but very, very informal. That's the better way to put it. Very informally give awards to our favorite things this year. Won't be any voting. It'll just be like us arguing about it. And yeah, this is it. And then we'll probably hate each other. And everyone hates what we choose, so they'll hate everything. It's fine. It'll be great.
Yeah, is that how that's gonna be? That's good.
And then Wednesday we're playing more Wild Arms, and pretty much next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and those will be the last streams to the end of the year. We might stream again, but it won't be scheduled, and it'll be more low key. Like maybe a game here or something fun there, or shooting the shit. You know, maybe an ALA pre thing. But yeah, that's it. Happy
Who's this?
holidays.
Happy
Honda Days.
holidays,
Happy what is it? Like
Toyota.
whatever the Toyota thon is. Like, are you a happy Honda Days family? Or are you a Toyota thon family?
leave your decision in the comments below.
That's it. Happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. If you don't celebrate at all, that's fine too. Just have a great December. I don't do you. Do you especially go FAP. And that's it.
There you go.
Thank you for showing up. It's actually a really fun episode. I not to say like I didn't think it would be, but we went into this one similarly because I was so busy with the planning for the panels. I was like, oh, I didn't really write an outline, but I think we could wing it. Especially because Josh has been on before. Everything will be fresh. I'll just ask Josh the intro questions basically.
Yeah, it worked out.
Josh ended up like giving us huge topics that filled like the past hour and a half. The first half was the only part that I ever scripted or even outlined. Scripted is not the word, but yeah.
Easy peasy.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome,
God,
but I didn't get there without like your script kind of like navigating towards it. Like it just sounded off the thing in my head when you were talking more about the furry cons and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. And then yeah, that's it. Everyone go play Animal Crossing too. And thank you, Jeeves. Thank you everyone else. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Shout out to our current patrons. Ed and Kenneth on patreon.com/ADJconnections. You can go there for exclusive shit. Especially because ALA and other cons are happening. We'll have a lot more of the usual exclusive stuff. There's already exclusive stuff there now that we kind of just been like making up, like some writing, some gameplay videos that are exclusive there, but we'll have some more of the usual exclusives coming up soon. And support us there. And that's it. Like, comment, just watch our shit if you can't do any of the above. Peace out. Love you all. Happy holidays. Fap.
Take care.